Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Done Piece by the Mangaki no Tsukai boys. I'm your host, Adam, and with me, as always, is the lovable Jesse.
Hello, give me a hug.
Yes, everybody, please. He needs it. He's so lovable. And the bad boy of the show, Evan.
Hey, what's up, fucker?
Oh, he's such a bad boy. Whew.
Oh,
Fuck
man.
you, Evan Harley Jarvis.
Yeah, I wanted to use that. I wanted to just get rid of Evan and use Bart Harley Jarvis. But I was like, nah, we'll just leave it as Evan. How you guys doing today? How we doing today?
I'm doing great. I just want to give a little bit of an apology to the audience, though, if I sound like garbage. It's because I'm just on my phone right now. So sorry about that. My headphones and speaker are broken.
How will we ever forgive you? That's the true question.
I just hit the unsubscribe button.
Thank you. Back down to 29 subs. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll have to fix this with Big Daddy Bezos.
All right. So today we're covering chapters 42 to 55, which is the first half of the Baratie arc, and it is pronounced Baratie, I believe.
That's what I've been told by Rob.
Right.
To be Mo.
Rob and Kyle. I said Baratie. They corrected me. They said it's
Yeah.
Baratie. So that is what we're on today. And we're going to get right into it.
That's actually kind of disappointing. I thought it was Baratie.
Did you?
You know, I thought it was like the cooks of the sea, the Baratie. But,
Yeah, I think Baratie might be a French word, but I actually no, I have. Okay, never mind. I don't exactly know why it's called the Baratie, but I know why Oda called it the Baratie, and we'll get into that when we get to it.
word.
All right. So, chapter 42, we have a continuation of the Buggy adventures in the cover story. He looks like he got spit out by this bird that started eating him. So yeah. All right, so
We get a lot of good buggy ones this time around.
there is so many Buggy adventure cover pages that I didn't even realize that they had gone on this long. But I guess it makes sense because he goes through a lot of stuff and he's kind of an important character. So I guess Oda really wanted to just show, what he had been doing. But all right, so on page 2, Luffy decided to make a Jolly Roger for the Going Merry, but it looks like a 5-year-old drew it. And everybody, makes fun of him for it. And I like Nami's response the best. She thinks it's abstract art.
Yeah.
So Usopp offers to paint a new flag, but he paints his own Jolly Roger, which I think he actually did a really good job with. That's actually a really good Jolly Roger, but
I agree.
But obviously he's not the captain, and that's not what they want. So on page 4, we get the Jolly Roger on the Going Merry, and looks pretty good, Usopp. I'm pretty surprised at your drawing skills. So as we continue, Usopp and Luffy, they're testing out the ship's cannon, and they're trying to shoot at this rock that's in the water, and Luffy keeps missing, but Usopp steps up and shows him how a real sniper does it, and blows up this weird rock formation.
This rock in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, kind of weird, right? I was like, man, this thing has a name, or am I just gonna call this thing a fucking rock? But just
does that count as an island?
Right,
Or...
right. So yeah, Luffy even says that he's impressed, and he calls Usopp the ship's sniper. And Luffy says, before we continue, there's one more, before we get to the Grand Line, there's another crucial member that we're missing, and everybody is like, oh yeah, we have this really nice kitchen, but Luffy says he wants a musician, which I wrote in my notes, very big foreshadowing.
Yes, very tall foreshadowing.
Oh, very tall foreshadowing.
Very wide foreshadowing.
Now I don't know what you're saying, but
yeah.
So on page 10, we get this bounty hunter appears and says, he attacks Luffy for trying to kill his partner, or I guess he says killing his partner. He said, "Dared to kill my partner." But Luffy kind of makes quick work of him. He just kind of grabs him and throws him.
Yeah, I really like on page 10. Oh yeah, this is the one you had, right?
Yes.
The bottom panel of just him winding up
Right.
that throw, and then the next page just launches him.
And Zoro comes out after all the commotion and recognizes this bounty hunter as a man named Johnny. And
Johnny.
Hey, Johnny. Johnny Sniper. We find out that Johnny's partner, Yosaku, is sick. They were actually resting on that rock that they blew up, and that's why Johnny attacked.
That's a very strange premise. Also, they don't have a boat. I'm assuming. I think they were more. It was more likely they were marooned on this rock than anything.
No, they have a boat. I think they have a
Oh,
boat.
they do
right?
have a boat.
It's like
You're
a little.
right.
It's like a little dinghy or some shit, right? Yeah. Look on page.
Yeah.
13. Yeah.
It's a lot smaller than the Going Merry.
Yeah,
But
it's like a dinghy.
Oh, he was resting on the rock. Like what?
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny too. I think what we're going to learn throughout the history of Johnny and Yosaku, which is a very small history, they're not competent. They're not very bright, but they have a lot of heart, you know. So
that's a fair point.
Right. So they pull Yosaku onto the Going Merry, and Nami recognizes immediately that he has scurvy, and for anybody that's not fully aware, scurvy is a lack of vitamin C, which was an issue for pirates apparently that couldn't store fruit and veggies properly out at sea. Right. So.
Yeah, because they would get all rotten, and then they'd be stuck with like hardtack and like salted jerky.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. So Nami just, tells Usopp and Luffy to, go to the kitchen and squeeze out a bunch of limes and force it down his gullet, which we see on page 15. This poor man.
I like how the liquid is even slightly green, I guess, to signify lime.
Right. So on page 16, we get like a nice big panel of them. We get to finally see the bounty hunter duo Yosaku and Johnny. And they explain that Zoro used to bounty hunt with them, and that's how they know each other. So the chapter kind of ends with Luffy deciding that they need to find a cook, and Johnny mentions he knows a sea restaurant that's not far from here, and there's a bunch of chefs there. Maybe they can find a chef to join their ship, and it's close to the Grand Line. But Johnny also hints. He says to Zoro, even a hawk-eyed man has been known to eat there. So I wonder what that could mean.
Hey, do you know what the tattoo on Johnny's face means?
I do not know.
Well, yeah, it means it's the word umi, which means sea.
Oh,
SEA.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
How'd you find that out?
Yeah,
Look
Jesse.
that one up.
Oh shit.
Also, the same word as Umigame, the sea turtle's name from Dragon Ball.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Damn,
There we
Jesse
go.
with the big brain strats.
Here we are.
Here we are. Chapter 43. Finally made it. So our cover panel, we see that Buggy has landed on a very familiar island. So we're gonna get some probably wacky stuff in some of these cover panels with that.
Hey Adam, can I derail you for just a hot second?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
In the last chapter, the last page, there's like a Q&A between people, I guess.
Thank you for bringing this up. I actually did want to point out, but go ahead, you talk about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, all I was gonna say is that this is the first time we get Ben Beckman and Lucky Roo's names. Oda even says, there's really no need to remember something like that, but since I got asked enough, I might as well clear it up.
Yes.
So that, not everything Oda did was planned from the start.
Right. Thank you for bringing this up, because I meant to write this in my notes to actually talk about that. I thought that was super interesting. That line specifically, you know, is not really a reason to remember these. Doesn't say these guys, but that's what he's implying, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
But clearly there was a big reason to remember these guys. It's kind of weird. I always was under the assumption that Oda had a lot of this, you know, pre-planned or pre-written out before he started publishing.
I think he had a lot of it planned, but there's also so much of it that a lot of it also he filled in on the way, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I would just assume that, you know, at a certain point, I mean, red-haired Shanks is probably a pretty important character at, you know, even like a few hundred chapters in, you know. You don't see a lot of him, but we know he's important, right? We know he's a prominent figure. So I thought that was kind of weird, but yeah, good way to point that out, Evan. Thanks.
Yeah,
these pages were included like on the Viz app when I first read One Piece, and SBS, it's some Japanese saying that literally means I am now taking questions. So
okay,
funny.
That is funny.
Funny translation, but yeah.
Sokaku Gibonen Shonen.
Wow. Damn, Evan. Very impressive Japanese, I'm sure.
Well, was that for real? What the fuck was that?
No idea.
That was,
I believe him.
Totally
Yeah,
100% real.
Jesse has a hard time believing that you can speak Japanese. What a fool.
Well, clearly he knows Japanese.
Yeah, Jesse. Clearly you know Japanese, so how could you not understand what he just said?
Well, he didn't say umi or umigame at all, so
that's fair.
He kind of lost me.
That's fair.
Or yeah.
Okay, so on page 3, the crew finally shows up at the Baratie, which I gotta say is one of my favorite ship designs. I know it's like a floating restaurant, but I really like the fish aesthetic of it. And
cool as fuck.
Yeah, even Usopp says that's so funky, and you know, I agree. It is funky.
It is funky.
And I have some trivia for us, as I'd like to try to incorporate in every episode. So the Baratie was inspired by Vietnam, the country. Don't know why, but it's in the Rurubu, which is the travel guide that is part of the 1000 Logs project, which is something that I don't know. I would assume it's One Piece Company is doing for like as an anniversary for the 1000th episode. It's like this giant project that includes like a bunch of art books and like different things. Like the Rurubu is a travel guide that like links places in One Piece to their real world inspirations, and the Baratie, Oda said, was inspired by Vietnam.
Yeah, I actually can answer that one.
Go for it.
In Vietnam, there's a lot of like just restaurant boats.
Oh, okay.
So you know, I could probably, if you Google it, you could probably actually see like Gordon Ramsay went on one, and he learned how to make like this like Vietnamese soup and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I think in Hanoi, it's like really big. It's kind of like, you know, like Venice, where you know you get around using boats and shit inside of the city. But yeah, that's probably what he's talking about.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Very cool.
Vietnam is actually so good with their street food, and I guess in this case it would be river food, is so good that fast food, like international fast food chains, don't even have a presence.
Damn.
Because you can get shit that's so good for so cheap there that people don't even bother.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, fun little factoid for you.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you for adding on to my trivia. The only thing else I have to the only thing I have to add on to that is Oda worked at a restaurant called the Baratie, which translates to Rose Arbor. So he just switched the E and the I to make Baratie, I guess.
Oh.
So yeah, I always thought it was a French word until I looked this up. So there we go. All right, so we also see that a marine ship is at the Baratie. And the lieutenant, the commanding officer on board, is a man named Iron Fist Full Body. And this guy is, I wouldn't go as far as to say important, but he does show back up eventually. And I guess Oda has, I don't know, I mean, I think it happens quite often, actually. Oda has a thing with body modifications in the Marines. So we see, like, on page 5, Iron Fist Full Body's got, the iron knuckles. But, we also had Axan Morgan, who had a body modification. I mean, he had a broken jaw, and he kind of had that same contraption on his jaw, and he also has, the axe hand. Yeah. So Full Body asks the name of their captain. He sees, the Going Merry, and Luffy says, I'm Luffy. We just finished making our flag 2 days ago. And Full Body actually recognizes Johnny and Yosaku and makes fun of them for getting caught by pirates. So Johnny and Yosaku, being bounty hunters, try to attack him, and they actually get beat up. And Luffy asks,
They get off-screened.
Yeah, they get off-screen beat up, and Luffy goes, "You sure you guys aren't super weak?" So, like, they even say at some point, I think they said in, like, the last chapter, like, "Oh yeah, pirates quiver at hearing our names." I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And then on page 8, Nami is actually looking through some wanted posters that fell, I guess, out of Johnny's ass. And
Yeah.
I don't know where they actually fell out of, but and she sees one. We can see on the top panel of page 8, we get this silhouette of a certain pirate, and clearly she's, upset about seeing this pirate. So something's going on there.
You know what's funny? Like, when I first read through this, I was like, "What the fuck? Usopp already has a wanted poster." But then I looked at it again, and I was like, "Oh no, that's not Usopp."
That's funny.
I get it.
Yeah, that's funny. So Full Body decides to have his marine ship shoot cannons at the Going Merry, but on page 9, Luffy uses Gamu Gamu no Fusen, which translates to balloon. And he launches the cannonball back at the marine ship, and instead he actually hits the Baratie on page 10. Which everybody is a bit shocked about. Look at all those giant jaw-dropping faces.
Luffy.
Yeah, that noise is what he would absolutely be making.
Luffy looks a lot like me on that top panel.
That's funny. So we get like a little bit of a couple day time skip. And we're in the Baratie, and Full Body is whining and dining with some hot little number, and decides to show off his wine knowledge. He takes a sip and he goes, "Oh, this must be an Itzelbergerstein." And he goes, "Am I wrong?" And he calls Sanji a waiter, and Sanji just walks up and goes, "Not even close, sir." Fucking amazing. So fucking funny. And he also corrects him. Baby. Yeah, not even close, baby. He even corrects him by saying, "I'm not a waiter. I'm the assistant head chef." And he goes up to his date. Wait, oh no, I'm sorry. Even his date asks him, like, "Are you actually knowledgeable about wine?" But apparently, we see that Full Body had actually requested that specific wine. So I don't know if that was Sanji just being like, fuck you,"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is. I'm pretty sure that is because, I mean, fuck it. If he requested it, it's probably the wine. He just wants to make him look like a fool in front of that pretty little hot number.
Yeah, that pretty little thing. Which,
pretty little thing.
There's this. I even have this in my notes at some point. At some point, when the fuck did Sanji go from being like this suave dude at this first interaction with Full Body and this girl? Because he's pretty suave during this, and he's funny, and he's like not like a fucking womanizer and a creep. And then like he sees Nami, and then he's like a womanizer and a creep.
He's a bit of a little bit of a womanizer. He's always flirting with the chicks. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but he's
It's
more
like,
smooth
it's
about it. He's not like auga, like fucking cartoon wolf looking at these girls, you know, with his eyeballs popping out.
like Nami Shuan,
right?
Nami Shuan.
That shit happens like during this arc, like during the chapters we're gonna read. But like with this girl right here, it in like even like an interaction like in I don't remember what chapter. I probably don't have it marked down. But like there's two girls that walk in and they like, oh hi Sanji, and he's like, oh hi Miss so and so, here's your table. Blah, like is like very smooth about talking to the girls instead of being like auga, you know.
Well, let's be fair though. Not many chicks can hold a candle to Nami. You know,
Nami's
Nami's
fair.
Kind of best girl in the series. You know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Damn.
Is that true, Adam?
I mean, Nami's pretty great. I feel like a lot of the female characters aren't that great, but I feel like that's Oda's fault, not their fault.
They also all look exactly the same.
Yeah. And then like post time skip happens, and like they stop being fucking characters, and they're just like, you know, walking boobs.
Yeah, for the most part.
It's unfortunate, but we press on.
As shitty as it is to say, that's basically what happens.
Right. All right. So on page 14, we get introduced to the owner of the restaurant, a man named Zeph. It's a cool name. And Luffy thinks he's a cool fucking guy. And he got hit by that cannonball, or I guess, you know, shit fell on him from the cannonball. And Luffy thinks he lost his foot because of the cannonball. But so you know, Zeph says, you know, you have to work at the restaurant for a year to pay off the damages, and Luffy's obviously not gonna do that. But we go back to Full Body and Sanji, and Full Body put a fly in his soup. The classic fly. Waiter, there's a fly in my soup, right? But Sanji dabs on him and said, because he doesn't say there's a fly in my soup. He asks, you know, does this restaurant serve insects? What's this damn bug in my soup? And Sanji says, you know, I'm not very knowledgeable about insects, which everybody laughs at him for, you know. And Full Body gets very upset, and tries to attack Sanji. And we don't actually see it, but on page 19, Sanji is holding this extremely bloody fucking Full Body, like very fucking bloody. God. Like the blood is so thick you can't even see his fucking suit. So I thought that was this is like one of the most bloody panels in One Piece, in my opinion. Like even like more bloody than when people get like punched through their fucking body.
It's pretty gratuitous, man. I was kind of taken aback.
Yeah. You won't see that in the 4Kids version, I promise.
Yeah, he's covered in fucking like Hershey's chocolate sauce.
Yeah, Hershey's chocolate
like sundae,
sauce,
sir.
That's funny. All right, so chapter 44. We're back to a normal cover. Cool one. They're eating giant apples or something. They're twisting. I like the one that they're like squeezing the juice out of. So Luffy and Zeph are arguing over how long Luffy should work for. And Seth says the only way to get out of this quickly is by cutting off your leg and leaving it behind. And Luffy says, you know, obviously he would not take that option. So we also get introduced to a new character on page 6 named Patty. Patty's a bit of a weird character. He has this thing about customer service. I even write in my notes, this dude is all about customer service. Except he's really not. He's kind of horrible.
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
Right. He walks up to people. He makes fun of them. He calls people stupid and ugly and dumbass. Yeah, he's not a very good customer service guy. But he sees Sanji beating the crap out of a customer and freaks out. And he, you know, starts, you know, telling Sanji, you know, the customer is always right, and blah, blah, blah. So after, you know, Sanji, you know, lets Full Body down, Full Body threatens to shut the restaurant down. So Sanji says, well, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to have to kill you. Which, fair, you know. And just as the other chefs are holding back Sanji, Zeph and Luffy come crashing through the roof. And on page 12... Zeph's just swinging at everybody. He hits Sanji with a kick. He fucking hits Full Body with a kick. He's just hitting everybody. He's mad. He's just swinging. But all of this commotion gets stopped when a bloody Marine bursts through the door, saying that the underling of Pirate Krieg escaped from the ship's prison, and a man appears behind the Marine and shoots him in the back.
It's Klahador.
He's fucking dead. This man just killed this Marine, and nobody really batted an eye except for Full Body and I guess some of the customers, but it's not like anything happened.
I like to think that Full Body went into the restaurant and the Marines just stayed on their boat. Like, what?
That's absolutely what just fucking happened. Full Body's kind of a shitty Marine, but I mean, most Marines are kind of shitty Marines, right?
For the fucking most part, you're absolutely right.
Right. Besides the peons that are just getting ordered around, the actual named Marines, like, probably, I don't know, at least half are fucking shitbags, right? The other ones, the small majority is probably nice, and the other ones are just like, we don't know enough, right?
I would say it's probably the same, like, split as, like, with how pirates are, you know? Like, some of them are really shitty, but then some of them are really good, you know?
Right.
It's probably an equal, split between the two.
For sure. So on page 16, we actually see what this guy looks like. And he's just asking to be served food. And Patty asks the man if he has any money. And the guy, points a gun at Patty's face. And what I was not expecting, I legitimately was not expecting this. Patty just fucking slams this man on page 18. Patty's got some, like, fucking Popeye arms. And
he's got that Donkey Kong down air.
Yeah. And then
or side air, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And the chapter ends with Gin laying outside of the Baratie and Sanji, bringing him some food, because Sanji's a good person who wants to feed starving people, even if they're shitty people. Not that we know that Gin is shitty. I mean, he did just murder a fucking Marine, but he's a pirate, so can't fault him too much on that.
Yeah, it's not that much of a surprise.
Right. So chapter 45, all I have for the cover art is I think it's a good cover art panel. Great. I like when Oda puts them in suits like this. So yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Very Italian.
Very Italian. So we start off with Luffy asking Sanji to join his crew because he witnessed, Sanji feeding the man named Gin. I don't think we know his name yet, but I'm gonna say it.
Spoilers.
Sanji kind of just ignores the question and tells Luffy that Zeph used to be a cook on an infamous pirate crew and that the Baratie is his treasure. Luffy ignores that and asks him again to join his crew, but he refuses and he says he has his own reason for working here. And I wonder what that reason is. So on page 6. Luffy gets mad at Sanji's refusal. And on page 7, while Luffy and Sanji are yelling at each other, the other man, whose name is Gin, cuts in and says he's a member of the Krieg Pirates, and he asks Luffy what his objective is. And Luffy says, he wants to go to the Grand Line, he wants to find One Piece, what probably most pirates would tell you. Gin tells Luffy to give up. And, when Luffy asks him, like, what does he know about the Grand Line, Gin says he doesn't know anything at all, and that's why it's so terrifying. Which is pretty terrifying. Fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah, it's one of the oldest fears.
Right. So, page 10. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What'd you say?
No, nothing. I do want to just say that I really like the guy that's like, the hors d'oeuvres for table 3 is ready. He looks so happy.
All right, so on page 10, we get introduced to Don Krieg and a chef named Carney, just like the Spanish word for meat. And Carney says that Don Krieg commands 50 ships. which is pretty crazy. That's a very big fleet for somebody who isn't a mainstay in the Grand Line.
Yeah, enormous.
Right. That's a. I mean, even for somebody in the Grand Line. I mean, when we think about pirate fleets, I mean, the one that comes to most people in mind who have read One Piece is probably Whitebeard's pirate fleet, and even that's not 50 fucking ships, you know. So
How many is his?
how many is whose?
Whitebeard's.
Oh man, I actually don't know the number, but that's because compared to like, I don't think they actually have a number on it because of all those ships being their own pirate crews. All of these ships that follow Don Krieg are his crew, right?
True. Yeah.
All right.
There's
probably 50 dinghies.
Probably 50 dinghies.
There's Orlumbus's crew.
Oh
That's
yeah,
like way out.
but that's
way out.
But what I was saying was, Don Krieg's ship crew is so big for somebody that isn't a Grand Line pirate.
Right.
Like 50 ships in the East Blue, like no one's stopping that. There's nobody strong enough there to stop that. I mean,
yeah, and they say it's 5,000 men.
Right, 5,000 men, 50 ships. And we do find out, I don't know when it's said, but it is said at some point that the East Blue is the weakest of the four blues. So
that's when Mihawk shows up, I believe.
Okay, I think I have it in my notes somewhere too. I just figured if we're on the subject, I might as well just say it.
Don Krieg is he's the biggest bad in the East Blue. Right?
Oh yeah. So on page 12, Gin leaves Goofy. Oh my god. Yuck.
I'm going to be the pirate.
Oh Jesus.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
so
right, now do Mike Tyson.
Yes. All right. So Gin leaves Luffy and tells him that so Gin leaves. Sorry, I did not use correct punctuation here. Gin leaves, and Luffy tells him that he's still going to the Grand Line. And Gin asks Sanji, is it okay if he comes here to eat again? And Sanji says anytime, which is nice. Which is a nice little thing. On page 14, we see that Luffy is working as an errand boy and is horrible at it. He gets scolded for doing absolutely nothing, but he probably deserved it.
I love his little title card.
Yeah, temporarily suspended from pirating. Restaurant on the Seas errand boy, working without pay. Monkey D. Luffy. They should have kept that as his fucking bounty title too. So Luffy is just like sitting there, not doing anything, getting yelled at, and they tell him to clean some dishes. But Luffy, as soon as he starts cleaning dishes, some of the chefs start talking about Sanji, and Luffy's not paying attention, and he starts breaking the fucking dishes. So they tell him to go fucking do something else.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, they tell him to go clean, and on the bottom of page 15, he's leaving to go clean, and he eats this food off a plate, and this dude, oh my god, that was the main dish, and Luffy just delish as he walks away. Fucking hilarious. That page cracked me up when I first read that. So the rest of this chapter is just like fucking goofs and gaffs, but the last page... we see Gin talking with Don Krieg, and he tells him, I'm gonna take you to the Baratie. But we don't actually see Don Krieg yet. What were you saying, Jesse?
Shadow Man. One goof and gaff to shout out is Luffy putting the booger in Zoro's drink and then fucking he just makes him drink it.
Yeah. He like fucking forces the glass into his mouth. Very funny. So chapter 46, Buggy is getting shot at by Gaimon. And that's about it. I guess he's trying to protect his treasure, which is the strange beasts. So this chapter starts off with Sanji and Zeph getting into a fight. And, I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of Zeph's motivations and his attitude towards, Sanji, just a little bit here, which will become more clear as we go on. So, page 5. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, here we go. Page 5. This is where I have it. I wrote, Oda makes one of the biggest mistakes, in my opinion, making Sanji a simp. And we can like start seeing that with his little sniffing Nami's hair as he's pouring her a drink, and waiting on her hand and
gross.
foot, and ignoring the guy customers who want stuff.
Is
And
it weird for you to
fucking
see
gross.
Sanji with the other eyebrow?
it's weird to see Sanji with the other eyebrow and like no facial hair. I mean, I guess he's got a little bit of chin hair, but like he does have like a soul patch kind of thing going on in the post time skip. But he doesn't really look much like different. Sanji's like the one that got changed the least. They literally just moved his part to the other side.
Yeah, the reveal of the other eyebrow is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. The swirly brows. Where am I here? Okay, page 6, hilarious panel. Okay, let's see what I have here. Page 6, hilarious panel of Usopp and Sanji. Oh yeah, because Usopp's fucking nose is like bent straight up as they get close to each other. And Usopp says he won't eat his mushrooms because he was poisoned by one as a kid. I thought that was funny. Page 8 is 2 days later, and we see that the Krieg pirates Jolly Roger shows up at the Baratie, and everyone is very scared except Luffy, who thinks Gin came back to repay his debt. But we see on page 10, right? Page 10, I think. Yeah, the Dreadnought Saber is in complete shambles. That is the name of this ship. Not a lot of trivia on it. It's called the Dreadnought Saber for no particular reason other than the Dreadnought was a class of ship during like the, I don't know, 17th century or some shit.
Early 20th century.
There you go, early 20. There you go. I couldn't remember the number. So yeah, we see this fucking gigantic ship is just like completely destroyed, and
It's honestly awesome looking. I love the map or the banister or whatever the fuck the face is called.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It's a really cool ship. It actually kind of looks like a ghost ship the way that it's all fucked up.
No doubt.
And on page 11, Sanji even notes like, oh, that's not the work of humans. That's a fucking natural disaster. Something horrible must have happened. And on page 12, we get a full panel of Don Krieg for the first time. We see Don Krieg, who is asking for food and water. Don Krieg was in the same predicament that it appears Gin was in. So Don Krieg collapses, and Patty and the chefs and the patrons of the restaurant all think they should call the Marines before Krieg is able to recover. But Krieg begs even for leftovers and promises to leave quietly. But on page 16, Sanji kicks. Oh, right, because no one wants to feed this man. So Sanji, we get a cool panel of him kicking Patty square in the face, which this was actually censored by 4Kids. They like
What?
they censored like any violence. It was kind of weird. Anytime Sanji kicks Patty in the face, it was censored.
Oh my god.
Weird.
I love how Patty's arm looks like the leg that's attached to the foot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So Sanji kicks Patty out of the way and feeds Don Krieg, and Carne says that Krieg is a man who uses deception to win. This is all part of his plot. And we see that on page 18, Don Krieg slams Sanji to the ground, the vicious elbow. And Krieg says,
that lariat.
Yeah, that lariat, right? That Jesus H. Burgess move.
Lariat.
And on page 19, Krieg says, "Nice restaurant you have here. I'll take it." But for whatever reason, that line really reminds me of like a cheesy action movie quote. Nice restaurant you have here. I'll take it.
I think I'll take it.
I'll take one of everything, including it.
Right. So we got some Sylvester Stallone writing in One Piece. Hi, Zoe.
Now I can't fucking... Dude, now I can't get Sylvester Stallone's voice coming out of Don Krieg's mouth. Oh my god.
Go ahead, Evan. Do it. Make him say, "Nice restaurant you got here. I'll take it."
Nice restaurant you got here. I think I'll take it. Or how about
I'm
in the
gonna
next
call it
chapter?
Adrian's.
My ship's all worn out, so I've been wanting a new one. Once my business is done with you, I'll have you get off the ship.
Very good, Evan. You can always count on
Not
you
a very
for.
good impersonation. It just sounds like I got a broken jaw.
Yeah, you're just like Axe Hand Morgan with a broken jaw.
Mmm.
All right, chapter 47. Buggy and Gaimon are buddies. Very, very nice to see.
Yeah, I like these two being the same size.
Yeah, it's very cute. This would have made a good cover panel, I think, or a thumbnail for us.
Mm-hmm.
This little giraffe bear is hitting the dab.
Yeah. Really what, Jesse? Just fucking say what you have to say.
Really caught on like 20 years later.
There we go. Thank God. So Don Krieg tells us that he has 100 men on his ship dying of starvation and dehydration, and the chefs need to prepare food and water for all of them. Don Krieg tells them he isn't asking, he's ordering them. And on page 6, Sanji says he's going to the kitchen to prepare the food. No one wants to prepare the food, but Sanji, being a man of conviction, as a chef, decides he's going to go prepare the food. But the chefs stop him. They all point guns at him and ask him if he's fucking crazy, pretty much. And Patty even comes up behind him and hits him to knock him out. But Sanji, before this all happens, he says, you can stop me if you want, but doesn't matter who the person is, a chef shouldn't, not feed somebody depending on who they are. They should always feed people, which is kind of it's a weird stance, but I get it, knowing his circumstances.
Yeah, it's noble, but
Yeah, Don Krieg's kind of a scumbag. I wouldn't have fed him. I would have, let him fucking starve. But
yeah.
Sanji knows something that I think we don't know yet, right? So Patty whips out. Oh yeah, right. Page 10. Patty whips out the coolest fucking lobster cannon.
Hell yeah, dude.
I love this fucking thing, and he uses his special indigestion meatball cannon to attack Don Krieg, and actually it hits Don Krieg. Yeah, I don't think Don Krieg was expecting that. I don't think Gin was expecting that.
Dude, yeah, definitely the fucking coolest weapon. Like when it first shows up and it's tiny, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Looks like fucking Larry the Lobster from SpongeBob.
Yeah. And on page 14, Don Krieg retaliates with a shit ton of hidden guns in his armor.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. He shoots all the chefs, and even whips out his Thanos power glove on page 17. But Zeph shows up with a bag of food to feed Don and his crew, and I get it. It goes back to the Sanji thing that we'll find out about, but the only thing that really happens at the end of this is someone says the name Zeph, and Don Krieg knows the name Redleg Zeph. Which, so I feel like that's kind of weird, because Don Krieg says like his motivation later is to steal something of his, and I don't know if he made that, I guess, while he was there, that this plan to steal a certain something from Zeph, but he kind of made it seem like he already knew Zeph was here, right? Am I like wrong with that, or do you think he just like made that up on the spot? Like, you know what I'm referring to, or no?
I totally get what you're saying, and yeah, I feel like when he says what his motivation is later, it seems like he's had that idea the whole time.
Right.
I guess he only just came up with it
right
now. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I thought
Can I ask a more off-topic question about Zeph?
Sure.
Does his hat keep getting bigger?
I hope so.
Does this man have Doug Dimmadrome syndrome? Because I feel like I'm going fucking crazy. Because I feel like every time I see him, his hat gets a little bit taller.
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. It's a screaming metal death trap.
No, but like I'm honestly being serious though. Like I'm pretty sure his hat just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I wouldn't put it past, but I will. I didn't pay attention to that detail, Evan. But now I will certainly keep my eyes peeled.
Like on page 20 of this chapter, like it's almost to the ceiling. But if you look back when you first met him, it was not that tall. You know, like this is like his height in hat. I don't know.
Page what? 18? Is that what you said?
It was
Oh,
page 20, I
okay.
believe.
Yeah, I mean that's a that is funny. That is a very big fucking hat. It literally makes him taller than Don Krieg.
It's
By
so
a lot.
weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's
I love
awesome.
it.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's awesome, but like, fucking what?
Yeah, that is pretty funny. All right, so chapter 48, we see a sad Buggy leaving Gaimon and the strange beast. I think he made some friends and he's just sad to leave them, unfortunately. Krieg tells us that Zeph was also the captain. So we had learned that Zeph was a pirate, a famous pirate. Well, now we know he's a bit more famous. He was a pirate cook on a pirate ship. But we also find out now that he was also the captain of that ship. And we get a bit of monologuing about how Red Leg Zeph only used his legs in battle, and he had a destructive kick that could even leave an imprint on steel. He also says the nickname is because his legs would be covered in his enemy's blood, which is a really cool nickname.
Hell yeah.
And Krieg says he wants Zeph's log of the Grand Line. And Luffy thinks it's cool that Zeph has sailed the Grand Line, obviously. But Zeph won't hand it over to Krieg, so Krieg's just going to steal it, obviously, right? But the chefs step up to stop Krieg, which I don't think is a great idea, but obviously they're going to defend their restaurant and their boss. But Luffy jumps in to say that he's going to be the Pirate King, because we couldn't get through a block of chapters without that.
Impossible.
Impossible to get through a block of chapters without someone mentioning a Pirate King or One Piece. I lost my spot. Okay. Usopp says that, you know, even Krieg didn't make it in the Grand Line, so they should just give up. And this is a man with 50 fucking ships that just got wrecked in the Grand Line. And Krieg laughs at Zoro and Usopp being Luffy's only crewmates, which I thought was pretty funny. But Luffy says he has two others, which implies Sanji being a part of the crew. And at the end of this chapter, Krieg leaves to feed his crew, and Gin stays behind to apologize because this is not what he had in mind. And Zeph says it's fine, and the rest of the chefs yell at Sanji for causing this mess, which, yeah, it's pretty much Sanji's fault, but we could also argue it's also Zeph's fault for giving all that food and whatnot for the 100 pirates on the ship.
I would say it's all Gin's fault, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I would say it's all Luffy's fault.
Okay.
Personally.
Oh my god. All right, let's just all get back to the root cause of this. This is Don Krieg's fault. Okay? Don Krieg's a scumbag. Nobody really realized it, which doesn't really make any sense, but here we are. So Zeph tells, after the chefs start yelling at Sanji, Zeph says, none of you know what it's like to starve at sea, hinting at something that we're not aware of, I assume, right?
Yeah, Sanji has to light up a cigarette whenever he thinks about it.
Right, right, which is all the time, apparently. And on page 18 of this chapter, we see Gin telling us that the Don Krieg fleet was destroyed by a single man, and he mentions it was a man with it was a hawk-eyed man. So obviously we know that Hawkman is a pirate on the Grand Line.
Mm-hmm. He tried to hide it from us
For so long.
Son of a bitch.
A piece of shit.
You don't know what he's doing.
But yeah, I thought
I'll
it was.
never read One Piece. I'll never read One Piece. He is One Piece. God damn it.
I thought it was pretty cool that Sanji earlier was like, "Oh no, that must have been a natural disaster," and Gin was like, "No, it was one fucking guy." So chapter 49. Zeph also knows about this hawk-eyed guy, and Zoro says, it's the man that he's been searching for. And Patty snaps everybody back into reality, just like Eminem. That the Don Krieg pirates are still out front, and they are going to attack us. And on page 8, we can see all these pirates on the dreadnought saber eating and stuffing their faces and getting their energy back, and also healing all of their wounds somehow. And
that's how it works in everything, man. You eat food, you get your health back.
Yeah, that's right. Just like in all my favorite RPGs.
Like, I got in a really bad car accident last night. Like, a really bad car accident. And luckily, I was right outside of Chipotle, so I scarfed down 2 burritos and a bag of chips, and I was good. I feel like I died.
Well, luckily for you.
Is that why you had two burritos? One was his?
Yeah, but I did get one for him, but I felt like my knee was kind of out of place, so
had to eat it.
Said fuck it, I'll just eat it myself.
Right, had to eat it.
If this guy doesn't have a res on him, then that's his fault.
So after the pirates recover, Don Krieg says that they're going to sail back to the Grand Line, and his crew, obviously just getting decimated there, is scared. But he shoots one of them for being a coward, because that's Don Krieg's a scumbag. The Krieg pirates attack the Baratie on page 13, and we get this. Oh, I'm sorry, not on They go to attack the Baratie, and on page 13 and page 14, we get this nice double spread, and we see the dreadnought saber getting fucking sliced in half. And on page 15, Luffy and Zoro go check on the Going Merry, but obviously because they saw it getting the waves getting all fucked up and the ship getting destroyed, they wanted to check on the Going Merry, but they see that it's gone. They only find Yosaku and Johnny floating in the water. On page 18, they tell them that Nami took the ship and left. And at the end of this chapter, we see a man floating amongst the ships on a little dinghy. Zeph recognizes him. Let me show that. There we go. We see this little man. It's kind of hard to see, but he looks like he's got a cross or something on his back. All right, chapter 50. Oops, clicked the wrong one. Let's pretend I didn't click the wrong one. Okay.
I can't unsee it.
So chapter 50. We see a cover page of Buggy getting attacked by a very happy-looking crab. And on page 2, we start with we get a flashback. We get a little flashback. We get these nice, cool, big panels of the dreadnought saber being completely sliced up, right? And we get a flashback of Johnny and Yosaku talking with Nami while she's looking at these wanted posters. And she walks away, but she goes and grabs the treasure, and then she tells Yosaku and Johnny, "Oh, I'm gonna get changed out here on the open deck, and you guys have to turn around." To which she then pushes them into the ocean.
Go stand over by the edge.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Yeah, go stand over there, turn around while I get changed. Come on, Johnny and Yosaku. The oldest trick in the book. Everybody falls for that.
Basic than that.
I'm saying you might as well have painted a fucking black spot on a wall and told them that's a tunnel. Drive through it, because that's what just happened.
This is Looney Tunes level of bullshittery.
Right. Fucking Nami's an Acme sales representative. All right, so so she pushes them off, and she leaves with the Going Merry. And she tells Yosaku and Johnny that if if her fate is linked with the others, they'll meet again someday. And on page 8, probably not, unfortunately. This is actually the last time we ever see Nami.
It was nice having her around, but
at least for 800 chapters.
Right. So Usopp and Zoro are obviously upset about this, but Luffy's like, no, we need to go after her. I want her to be our navigator no matter what. So he's, he has like, he tells Usopp, Johnny, Yosaku, and Zoro, like, you go after her. I'm going to stay here. But on page 12, we finally get to see the hawk-eyed man. His name is Hawkeye's Mihawk. We know his name isn't actually Hawkeye's. That is a title. I guess his title is World's Strongest Swordsman, but his nickname is Hawkeye's Mihawk. And Hawkeye's Mihawk says he followed the Krieg pirates just because he wanted to kill some time. They even mention at one point, I don't think I brought it up, and I think I passed it already, why would one man suddenly destroy 50 fucking ships? And someone, I think Zeph made the joke of like, oh, maybe you disturbed his sleep. And I'm pretty sure that's actually what fucking happened here. Like, he was just bored. He was sleeping. They fucking crossed his path, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking destroy 50 fleets. No problem.
Yeah, these scumbags basically that are trying to be pirates in the Grand Line, and they can't stand up for themselves.
Right? They can't hack it. Also, his little dinghy is really cool. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like it's in the shape of a coffin.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little ship. I'm sure it has a name. I know for a fact it has a name because it's a ship on One Piece Treasure Cruise. I just don't remember the name of it. So that's Hawkeye's Mihawk, and even on page 13, we get to see his face a little bit better. So Zoro confronts Mihawk and says, his reason for setting sail on the ocean is to become the world's strongest swordsman, and he's been waiting to meet Mihawk because Mihawk is the world's strongest swordsman. But Mihawk looks at him and just kind of calls him pitiful and a weakling. And on on page 19, the chapter ends with Nami sailing away and crying and asking, do you think they still consider me a friend and that she just wants to be free? And she mentions the name Bellamere, which will be important much later.
Hey, I've got the name of Mihawk's ship here.
Go for it.
I mean, I've never said it out loud before, but
say it.
It's like Hitsugi Bune,
which translates to
literally means coffin boat.
Let's go. That's cool. Coffin boat. I'm gonna have to look on One Piece Treasure Cruise and see what they actually call it on there. All right, so chapter 51. 51. We got a cool cover panel. This is kind of an important cover panel. We see that this skinny, mysterious female pirate saves Buggy from this giant crab.
Who could that be?
Who could that be? And more importantly, why did she save Buggy from the giant crab?
Look at his fucking face.
Yeah, I wonder who this could be.
I don't care who she is. I think she's the new best girl.
Oof.
I don't care who she is.
Jesse, do you not know who that is?
No, I know. Of course, I know who it is. I think that it being in color actually tips it off a little more.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
But yeah. I didn't know who it was the first time reading. I had no idea.
Right.
So,
yeah.
All right, so chapter 51, right? Page 2, we get this really cool standoff between Zoro and Mihawk. And it's pretty, I wrote in my notes, it's pretty crazy to see this interaction. Just like that, seeing them, what are we on? Chapter 51. How much information we have now with Mihawk and Zoro and just like seeing this interaction, I thought was pretty cool. Pretty interesting.
Zoro's lucky he's the man.
Yes, seriously, and I like what Oda does with this fight too, because it shows off. Because, like, okay, in shonen, there's so many times where it's just like, all right, the main character wins because of plot armor, right? Or like it's gonna be a tough fight, but like Zoro's gonna pull out. Like that would be like a typical shonen thing to do, right?
No doubt.
But knowing what we know about Mihawk, and obviously Oda had much bigger plans, he completely decimates Zoro using this little fucking. I mean, that's like a kitchen knife. It's like it's not even a dagger.
It's like a paring knife.
Right,
Like
exactly.
his necklace.
Right, which is on his necklace. Like, and he destroys Zoro. So I really like the way that Oda set this up, because he really showed the difference from Zoro, who is considered to be pretty strong, like one of the strong at this point in the manga, one of the strongest characters we know about, right? Getting absolutely dabbed on. I thought Oda did a good job with this and didn't just make it like Zoro's losing, but he's kind of holding his own here. He gets beat up pretty bad. This is also the chapter where we learn that the East Blue is the weakest of the four seas.
Can I just say this fight between these two is, like, in my opinion, one of the more iconic moments of the series.
Oh yeah, the ending for sure. When Zoro's sitting there pointing his sword up in the air, I was gonna say that's like one of the most iconic and nostalgic scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, nostalgic is a good word for it for sure. But like, yeah, Mihawk is a cool character, and I hope we get to learn a little bit more about him before the series wraps up.
Me too. I feel like he's still very much wrapped in mystery.
Yeah. We get a little bit more, but like not much.
Not much, right? Not much. We get a little bit more, but not much. So yeah, so this fight happens, and pretty much Zoro whips out his onigiri on page 5 and 6, and Mihawk easily stops all 3 blades with this little fucking kitchen knife.
It's really fucking awesome.
It is really cool, and Zoro's even like, impossible. Nobody can stop my 3 blades with a little kitchen knife.
Chotomate.
Chotomate. Does that mean wait?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it means like just a minute.
Yeah, okay. Mihawk, calls Zoro weak after stopping his blade, and obviously Johnny and Yosaku get upset, but Luffy holds them back. And says, "Don't interfere. Just watch." As Zoro continues to try to swing on this man, but he just can't get it done. And on page 12, we get this cool. I'm sorry. I think I fucked up my notes here. We get this cool bit. Oh man, I definitely fucked up my notes here. I think I did something and mixed sentences together.
Oh no! Well, did you mention the flashback of Hyo we get?
Flashback of Hyo.
Yeah. Well, Zoro's thinking about the friend.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't write that in my notes.
Piao.
Piao. Yeah. Yeah. After the flashback, that's when Luffy holds Johnny and Yosaku back, and says, "Don't interfere." And page 13.
God, we're gonna be in like chapter 650, and we're still gonna be making. Oh, Piao! I meant Piao.
Oh right, okay. So on page 13, Mihawk stabs Zoro after Zoro tried using his Toragari move on page 12, and Mihawk stabs him like straight into the chest, and we get this cool dialogue of Mihawk asking, why won't you step back? Do you want me to pierce your heart? And Zoro says he'd rather die than break his promise or his oath. And Mihawk respects that. I don't really understand how they understand each other that much, but Mihawk respects that a lot, actually. And he even asks Zoro for his name and says, to show my respect, I'm gonna take out my his black sword off his back, and we see this really cool fucking black sword that he carries around.
This is the strongest sword, right?
It's gotta be one of the strongest swords. I don't know if this sword is a legendary sword, like how Zoro.
It is.
Oh, okay, so there you go. Yeah, it's gotta be one of the strongest.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's not fucking around, and that this is the strongest sword out of the top grade swords. There's like 12 or 13 of them.
It does say it's the world's strongest sword, but to be fair, I mean, yeah, I don't know, because like you put one of the other swords in Mihawk's hands, and technically that sword would become the world's strongest sword because it's wielded by the world's strongest swordsman. I don't know if that's what he means by this, or if he literally means this sword is the strongest sword in the world. Like nothing will break this sword, or something like that.
I think he means it literally.
Gotcha. So Zoro and Mihawk get ready for one last clash, and Zoro attacks with his Santoryu Ogi, which means his three-sword style. And the move is the Sanzen Sekai, which means 5,000 worlds. But he's no match for Mihawk. And we see on page 18 his swords, not the one in his mouth, but his two swords in his hands, were destroyed. And page 19, I write, fucking badass. This is king shit right here. Zoro says, Zoro stands up and asks him to cut him on his chest because a wound on a swordsman's back is a shame to a swordsman. Which the reason I write this too, it's very reminiscent of Whitebeard, right?
Right.
We think about
Very
that,
much so.
right?
Right beard.
Right beard. All right, and that we end this chapter with Zoro getting sliced down, and Luffy's obviously upset because he thinks Zoro's dying, which is very possible considering he just took a clean slice by the world's strongest swordsman, wielding the world's strongest sword. Chapter 52, page 1. Really cool. Really, really cool paneling here. Really like the angle that this is drawn at that we see in the middle panel. Just really good work by Oda or his assistant, whoever actually drew this panel. Because I feel like we give a lot of credit to the main people, but Jesse, whenever I do that, likes to mention the assistants. So I figured we'll give them some credit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure Oda drew most of it.
Sure, yeah. And I'm sure assistants probably helped with like the smaller, more annoying shit. But
yeah.
So Mihawk, after doing this, says in his mind, don't rush to death, young one. Also, I did mention this. I wrote also important to mention Zoro's swords broke, which is very important. We'll find out why that's important, but the swords breaking is an important thing. And everyone's freaking out that Zoro got sliced up, and Sanji comments, even if it's your dream or ambition, if it means your death, you should just forget about it, which, again, starting to see a bit more of the way Sanji thinks, and, that's going to come, that idea of, giving up on your dream will come back into play later. All right, so on page 7, we get this, I think this is a very iconic panel, because this shot of at the bottom, the shot of Luffy stretching out his arm and then reaching the rail past Mihawk is in the opening of One Piece, and I always remember this shot. Like, I remember Luffy putting his other hand on his shoulder and then stretching across to go over at Mihawk.
Yeah.
And obviously now everyone has seen Luffy is a devil fruit user, and Mihawk confronts Luffy and tells him I didn't actually kill Zoro, and we do get his first name, which is Dracul, not Draculae, but Dracul.
Hercule,
Mr. Satan. Oh my god, it's all like full fucking circle here. We get this really cool dialogue from him, where he says, oh yeah, okay, right. Let me make sure I'm like showing this bit here. So, Zoro's in the water, and Yosaku and Johnny pull him out and bring him onto their dinghy. And we get this cool dialogue from Mihawk, who's like, he tells him his name is Dracul Mihawk, and he says, know yourself, know the world. It's too early for you to die and become strong, because he wants Zoro to be the man that surpasses him. And this spurs Zoro into raise again. This is probably one of the most iconic things in early One Piece, in my opinion, as Evan also pointed out. But we see Zoro raises his sword into the air and promises to Luffy, until the day that he fights and beats Mihawk, he's never going to lose again. And on page 16, we get this nice, powerful fucking image of Zoro pointing his sword up in the air. And Mihawk even smiling about it, because Mihawk's excited at the thought of that. And before,
I feel like do we see Zoro cry a lot?
No, I don't really get a lot of emotion from Zoro, honestly.
Yeah, because he's really fucking bawling his eyes out here.
Yeah, this is like definitely the most we've seen him cry. He laughs. He's not like monotone and whatnot, but he, as far as emotions, he doesn't really show much. No,
not at all.
So before Mihawk leaves, he says, he wants to meet Luffy and Zoro in the future, which I thought is really cool and kind of a bit of foreshadowing, but not really. Definitely not intentional foreshadowing, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is intentional foreshadowing. But Don Krieg attacks Mihawk as he's trying to leave, which I don't fucking understand. This man, he just sliced up your gigantic fucking ship, and you're like, all right, now I'm gonna attack this guy after he's destroyed 50 of my ships and 4,900 of my crew.
Yeah.
But as Don Krieg, so I wrote, Don Krieg attacks Mihawk, but Mihawk uses his farewell devil fruit and leaves or something.
Yeah, what is this supposed to be?
I don't know. Don Krieg literally attacks him. Mihawk says, you never learn, do you? Farewell. And then he's just gone. Where did he go? But
maybe he slashed the water so hard he jumped away. I don't know.
To where?
Somewhere else on the ocean? Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. Well, that makes more sense than just saying he has the farewell devil fruit. So it's not that hasn't been disproven. So as far as I'm concerned, he has a devil fruit that lets him leave. So he leaves, and Zoro, Usopp, and Yosaku and Johnny leave to chase after Nami, and that's pretty much how this chapter ends. Oh, chapter 53. We get another cover panel with this woman and Buggy, and both of them are after Luffy. And I think at this point it's pretty obvious who this woman is. With at least I would say her ship probably gives it away, right?
Yeah.
It's Alvida. She's skinny. I'm not gonna say why she's skinny, but she's skinny. She went on Jenny Craig.
Vegan. Yeah.
Jenny Craig.
It works. So yeah, Don Krieg wants to steal the Baratie because he now no longer has a fucking ship. But his main reasoning for stealing the Baratie is because he wants to use it to sneak up on other ships that wouldn't expect a restaurant on the sea to be full of pirates.
Honestly, not the worst idea.
Not the worst idea. Krieg is kind of a scumbag for it, but not a bad idea. And Krieg also believes that Zeph. Right, because my initial thought was, Don Krieg's a fucking idiot for attacking Mihawk, because obviously he just got beat up by this guy, and why would he want to go back to the Grand Line when he knows it's full of people like that? But Krieg wants to steal Zeph's Grand Line log, because obviously Zeph survived there, and Zeph doesn't have a devil fruit, so he must know of a way to deal with, people that have devil fruits. And other strong people like Mihawk. I mean, we don't know that Mihawk has a devil fruit or not. He's just extremely strong with a sword. Even though Don Krieg believes that Mihawk does have a devil fruit, and that's the only reason he's able to slice a ship down like that. So on page 7, we see that the chefs are getting ready to fight, and I just wanted to point out their weapons are giant kitchen utensils. I always thought that was pretty cool, funny. And Luffy starts off the fight by slingshotting himself on page 9 and using his Gamu Gamu no Scythe attack, where we see just like clotheslines like fucking 50 pirates or something.
Yeah.
And on page 11 and 12, we get introduced to the Sabagashira, I think that's how it's pronounced, Sabagashira number 1, which translates to mackerel head number 1.
Yeah.
And I love this trope for Luffy on page 11, where he's impressed by anything that can transform. And we're gonna see that more so in the future chapters, but yeah, we see it. Damn, that's cool with his fucking mouth like giant.
It is pretty fucking cool. I love this little thing.
It is cool, and it's very reminiscent of the Thousand Sunny, right?
It is.
Right.
You know what I was thinking it was more reminiscent of?
What's that?
Team Rocket's Magikarp submarine.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
That's also pedal.
I was gonna bring that up too. I was like, I think it's great that this ultimate fucking cannon thing is pedal powered.
Yeah. Go left. You're supposed to be going left. Try to go left.
And this Sabaga, the mackerel head, it murks. It murks these pirates on page 13. It fucking like destroys this dinghy or a piece of the fucking ship that they're trying to stay afloat on. And on page let's see, where is it? Page 14? No, 13, 15 maybe. So the Baratie has these fins that Sanji tells the rest of them to raise, and it's just like these two platforms that come up on the sides of the Baratie. But obviously anything transforming is cool to Luffy, so on page 15 we get another cool at the transformation of the Baratie. And the pirates and the chefs, they start going at it. And Patty and Carne turn the mackerel head towards Don Krieg, and they go to shoot him. And I was legitimately pretty impressed. Don Krieg just like stops them in their tracks. Now, my only question is, why didn't they just fucking shoot? Why on page 18, when this is happening, or even like 2 feet before this happens, would you not shoot the cannon? Don Krieg grabs the cannons and fucking throws the mackerel head. Again, very impressed by this. Don Krieg's a lot stronger than I remembered. But on page 19, Sanji jumps up and we see this fucking crazy long leg of Sanji kick the mackerel head out of the way. Because he threw it at the...
Zeph's hat under there?
He might. He might be like Inspector Gadget or something. So chapter 54. Alvida and... I said it already. Alvida and Buggy form a pirate alliance against Luffy. Which will be important later. It's not super important right now, but it will be. And we see in this chapter that the Krieg pirates are actually pretty strong. They're able to beat the chefs pretty easily, but Patty and Carne step up to protect the Baratie, and they beat up on some of these pirates. But on page 7 and 8, we see we get introduced to a man who is completely covered in some kind of rounded armor and pearls. Beat up Patty and Carne in one hit. And this man's name is Iron Wall Pearl. And I mentioned this before the podcast or the other day. This man had a very California surfer accent in the 4Kids show.
Really?
Very California surfer accent. Yes. So yeah,
Such a goofy design, man.
very goofy. I don't even understand the fucking design. I don't really understand how this guy's powers work either. I know he's not a devil fruit user, but
Yeah, he has a super random power. I think in the
right.
next chapter.
Right. So this is the 2nd Division commander of Don Krieg's pirates as well, just to point that out. 2nd Division commander. So a pirate tries to steal Patty's nice. Don't think that's what they're trying to steal. Definitely misspelled something. Knife. Yeah, so one of the Krieg pirates is trying to steal Patty's knife. And Sanji runs over and kicks the pirate out of the way and says that, that a chef's kitchen knife is his soul, and an amateur like you shouldn't be touching it. And on page, which is pretty cool, it's a cool little thing. On page 13, we see some of Sanji in action with his iconic breakdance move. I don't really think this thing has a name, but I just don't know what it is. And on page 14, we see he takes down a bunch of pirates.
That's an awesome page.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool page. You get all these nice kicks to the face. And Sanji and Pearl decide to go at it. Sanji and Pearl go to fight, but Pearl says he's never lost in a fight and that he has never even lost a drop of blood in a fight. It's pretty crazy, considering you just got your ass kicked by the Hawkeye Mihawk, but, just not counting that one, I guess. And he says he's got a very stylish iron defense, which we can see by all these weird plates he wears around his body, right? So Luffy's paying attention to Sanji and Pearl, but Don Krieg takes this moment to use his spiked ball and chain to attack the mast that Luffy's on, which sends Luffy flying into the back of Pearl's head, which at the same time, Sanji kicks Pearl and he defends it with this shield thing and smacks his nose into it, which causes him to have a nosebleed. And on page 19, everybody is a bit worried about the nosebleed. A little bit worried about the nosebleed. I don't know why, but they're a bit upset. Chapter 55, this is the last chapter for this episode. And we see another important cover panel. The Buggy Pirates are having a funeral for Captain Buggy.
It's so funny.
It's really
so
funny.
sweet.
But it's also funny because they have his body parts tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because then otherwise they'd like float away or whatever.
Yeah, I don't really know what would happen, right? I feel like he can only be a certain feet away from his body, right? I mean, wouldn't the body parts like try to go back to their, like, to the master, like to fucking Buggy?
I'll be honest, I don't even remember how he gets his body back.
Well, we'll find out in the cover pages.
Okay, cool.
All right, so chapter 55. So that's important too. Important to note that the Buggy Pirates have Buggy's other body parts. So the Krieg Pirates try to calm Pearl down, and Krieg even says, like, you don't have to go wild over a fucking nosebleed. This isn't the jungle, which is a bit weird to say. But we find out why.
This is the ocean. It's
Right.
the opposite of the jungle.
But we see on page 3, Pearl starts freaking out, screaming that, he's in danger. And we find out, he sets himself on fire by smashing his pearls together. I don't really understand how this power works. I don't understand how he's not burning up. He's not a devil fruit user. I
don't know.
But bit questionable of an enemy on Oda's part. But here we are. So yeah, he sets himself on fire. And we find out that Pearl grew up in a jungle, and whenever he was afraid of getting attacked by wild beasts, he would set a fire. So this is his way of scaring away danger. Yeah, and I even write my notes here. I don't understand Pearl's power, but he launches fireballs at Luffy, which they're not fireballs, they're pearls that were set on fire. But again, I really don't understand where they come from. They look like they're coming from the sky, not from him.
The only way this makes sense is if he had a devil fruit, honestly.
Right. Like I would even argue like, okay, the pearls in his armor is what he's launching, but what they just fucking replace themselves?
Well, if you look at page 5, he's holding them in between his fingers.
Oh, is he?
And then on page 6.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
And also page 6 is really nice. Like this bottom panel.
Yes.
Pretty flowy.
Really cool.
Kind of like that Mihawk.
Right. That angle, yes, the flow and the angle that Oda draws this in is very cool. And the name of this attack is the Daitokuten, which means special treat. So uses his special treat attack. And at this point, everyone thinks Pearl is gonna burn down the Baratie, and rightfully so. He's kind of setting the whole fucking thing on fire, which is pissing off Don Krieg, because Don Krieg wants to steal this boat, and obviously it's pissing off the chefs and the other pirates that are getting caught up in the fire. Sanji attacks Pearl, who asks, like, how could he even approach him? And Sanji, in a very cool way, says, how could I be...
Say it in Sylvester Stallone's voice.
How could I be a cook if I was afraid of fire?
Nice.
So, which is true. How could Rocky be a cook if he's afraid of fire? So yeah,
he does open up his own restaurant.
Yeah, I can't do a good Sylvester Stallone. I'm more of an Arnold impersonator kind of guy.
Yours sounded pretty good. It was a bit John Wayne-ish, but it was.
I'm sure it was, yeah. Yeah, I had to practice that one a bit more. So pages 10 and 11, Pearl attacks and calls Sanji a dandy son of a. Really weird wording. But yeah, he calls him a dandy son of a and uses fire pearl present. Did I say that right? Yeah, fire pearl present. But it's really just a punch, and Sanji counters him with a heel kick to the face.
Heel kick.
Yeah, the good old heel kick, which sends Pearl reeling a bit there. Pearl freaks out and launches a bunch of pearls at Zeph, actually. I guess this is just like a panic move, and he starts freaking out and throwing shit all over the place, and a bunch of these pearls start heading towards Zeph. And Zeph easily, on page 14, puts them all out with just the wind from his kick. Which is pretty cool. We don't get to see Zeph a lot, but pretty cool we get to see.
I do want to say that his hat has gotten bigger.
I mean, his hat looks pretty fucking big in this panel, so...
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was about his height, now it's even bigger.
Right. It's a big fucking hat.
Hey, speaking of theories,
yeah.
Do you guys think Zeph was part of Gold Roger's crew as the chef?
Well, they said he's the captain of his crew.
Oh, you're right. Never mind.
I did start thinking, too, like, man, maybe this guy was, like, a part of... I'm not going to name certain crews, because there's another crew I wanted to name. But that's way, way later. But once Don Krieg was like, oh, you are the captain as well, which I thought he was, but when they didn't say it originally, I was like, oh, maybe he was just the cook on the ship, which could have meant he could have been on, like, a famous pirate ship, but... I do hope they give us a little bit more information about Zeph's old crew. Like, I'm sure that detail might come back up in something, right?
Yeah, probably.
I would hope so. I think that'd be interesting and cool information to know. So Zeph puts out that fire easily with the air from his kick. And on page 16, we see Don Krieg in all of this commotion, launched his spiked ball at Luffy or at the Baratie to put out the fire on the fins, but Luffy catches it and uses his Gumu Gumu no bazooka attack, and launches this bad boy back at Krieg, which hits a mast, and that mast lands square on Pearl's head, and we get this hilarious fucking picture of accordion Pearl on page 18.
Yeah.
He
And
looks like Shomo.
oh yeah, he does with like the 6 chins. That's really good.
Wow.
And this might be the funniest panel in all of One Piece. Honestly, this is a good fucking panel.
It
That's
really
not
is
true because the panels in Wano when they fucking show the wanted poster and they show everybody's reaction to people finding out about the wanted poster.
That is definitely the funniest moment. I think.
That's the funniest fucking pages and faces made in One Piece for sure. So the chapter ends on page 19. And we see that Gin is holding Zeph at gunpoint and says, please stop fighting, Sanji. I don't want to end up killing Zeph. And
Dun dun
Son of a bitch.
dun.
yeah, I think that's a pretty good stopping point. We leave off on a nice little cliffhanger there. I think Baratie is my favorite arc in early One Piece. What do you guys feel about Baratie compared to the other arcs we've read so far?
Jess, you go first.
This is definitely the best arc we've read so far. Like, we're not done with it, but when we're gonna be done with it, definitely the best arc. When I first read One Piece, shit was getting me super hyped. I think the next arc though is even better.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's Arlong Park.
Oh yeah, and I
so-
think Arlong Park is really good. My only thing with Baratie is we get a lot of minor information about very important things, whereas in Arlong Park there's only really, I think there's like one big piece of information we get about the world, which I won't say right now, but I do love Arlong Park. That's also one of the best in the pre Grand Line story.
Yeah, yeah, but Sanji's a cool dude. He's like, a pretty badass fighter we've seen so far, and also one other thing I want to shout out is, like, I remember when I was a kid, one of the only episodes I ever saw was like one of these chapters for sure, because I remember the whole, like, the setting of Baratie and Don Krieg and shit. Because I never really watched this show at all.
Right.
When it was on back in the day. So this was like one of the only episodes I saw, and I remember thinking it was cool, but I don't know. One Piece I just put off for a long ass time, and here we are. Glad I'm in it now. I'm
Well,
in
hell
the Grand
yeah.
Line, baby.
Well, let's do it,
Hell
brother.
yeah, bud.
What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much the same. I mean, so far what we've read, this is definitely better. I really personally don't really like the whole Usopp arc.
Yeah, me neither.
I never really have, like, ever.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm glad we're over it. Other than that, I can't wait to get to Arlong Park. Can't wait to finish this up. Man, really good.
Yeah.
I forgot how badass Zeph was too, honestly.
Yeah, Zeph's a really cool character. Like I said, I wish we got to know more about him and about his crew and like how famous they were or like who they fought or anything like that, which we really don't. But yeah, early One Piece is a bit more like early Dragon Ball, I guess, where it's a bit more on the gaggy side.
No doubt.
Obviously, we still get some like cool fights and whatnot, and it's a bit more serious than Dragon Ball, but we won't. And it stays pretty gaggy throughout all of One Piece. There's definitely humor throughout all of it, but early One Piece is definitely not as badass as later One Piece, right?
Yeah, it definitely has a lot more comedy than badassery for sure.
Right. Once we get into the Grand Line and we start dealing with other stuff, we'll get to all that cool stuff. But right now, I think this is a really good chapter. It's not super long, or I'm sorry, arc. It's not a super long arc, which is nice. And it it does build on the world a bit more, and we get our first taste of what people in the Grand Line are like with through Mihawk and how Don Krieg was fucking wiped out. I think this is a good world building arc.
Yeah.
But if nobody has anything else to add, I think are we doing Riffcast next week?
Oh, we could do that if you want. If not, we can go ahead with KINGDUMMIES.
Okay.
I don't mind. Depends, I guess, if we can get Hawkman in or not.
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that. But do you know what chapters of Kingdom we'd be covering if that's next week?
Yes. Let me pull it up real quick. I had it here.
I think the next arc is like kind of
It's pretty
short,
short.
right? We could
Yeah, it's a
probably use the whole
political
arc.
Yeah, I think it's a political arc.
So, I where are we? We just finished the battle of
Sanyo.
Sanyo, yeah. So we should be going 244 to 256. That's probably a good amount. Maybe a few more extra chapters into it. Depends on. I have to read it again to see, like if it's a good spot to end. But we'll take a look at that and we'll see for sure. Talk about it soon.
Cool. All right. Well, that's it for us at Mangaki no Tsukai. Thank you guys again for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Please get the word out. And follow us on Twitter. Jesse does a great job that nobody sees. At Mangaki Pod. It's really sad because he does a really, really good job. And nobody sees it besides me and Evan. But with all that said, thank you guys again. I'm Adam with the Mangaki no Tsukai podcast. And have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
So long.